If I can paint a scenario and then maybe ask how you would approach it, as it's something I'm seeing oftentimes in the market. Salesforce being the 800-pound gorilla in today's world is still positioning itself as incredibly agile. What I'm seeing a lot of times, especially for what I would call the mid-market, so businesses that have between 250 to 5,000 employees, where most of the growth happens in this country, may have purchased Salesforce. So they purchased a technology that was enterprise ready, but they built it and designed it in such a way that met their needs when they're smaller. They grew over time and accumulated a lot of technology debt processes, and sometimes it was put together with a bit of duct tape and baling wire. They reach a point where I would call them late stage startups. So they're getting cash flow velocity, the business is running well, but the technology stack they built now is reaching a point where it can't scale. So they've hit what I call a tipping point. And that tipping point is really where they're at. And on the other side of this giant gorge is the scaling side of enterprise. So there's this valley that they need to traverse, or they need to cross over it somehow. From your perspective as a CIO, where do you go to for help, or how do you address that concern, which is you have the right technology, but maybe it's implemented, it's governed, it's funded, all those issues are significantly lacking for your future?
Yeah, that's a really tough problem. And I've faced it multiple times. And honestly, I feel like everybody has that issue. In some ways, it's easier. I was talking about moving from your early applications to more enterprise applications. But you're right. With Salesforce, typically what happens is people started with Salesforce. But the problem is the implementation was an early stage implementation. And now you actually need an enterprise implementation. And it's really harder to sell that in some ways, I think, internally in the company, to say, hey, we need to go spend a significant amount of money to solve this problem. And it's funny, I think sometimes it's easier for people to do that in the context of, hey, we're going to buy this new product, because then there's a sense that this product is going to solve a lot of problems. And oh, by the way, we need to spend money and implement it. But it's almost just easier for people to take, okay, I'm going to spend a ton of money, but we're going to get this brand new gleaming thing. When in fact, sometimes, and certainly in the case of CRM and Salesforce, usually what you need is actually just to re-implement and improve the implementation that you did. And that's a tougher sell, because the problem is the price tag is still really high.